I'm Sandra and I work as a community chef for NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde. And today we are going to be making a very simple tomato and vegetable sauce, which you can find in the Fun First food booklets. You can find the recipe in there. Very, very simple, not many ingredients. All you need is a tin of chopped tomatoes, some grated cheese, half a courgette, a small onion, half a red pepper, around a tablespoonful of vegetable oil and some pasta. Okay, so it's really important that we start off just by washing our hands, making sure that our table's nice and clean, our utensils are clean, and even your baby's high chair, just give it a little wipe, and your baby's hands as well, just so they're nice and clean before they start eating. So we're just going to start off with our small onion, and we're just going to peel this and finally chop it. So start off just by taking the bottom off. We'll cut the onion in half. And then we can just peel the skin back. And we'll finally dice this. Again, we just want some texture in the meal because it's really important that you add some lumps and bumps in so your baby gets used to what food tastes like in their mouth. And obviously food has texture in it, so it's important that you include that in your meals. You don't need to puree anything. Okay, and then we're just going to add a tablespoon of oil into the pot. Okay, so by 9 to 10 months, it's really important that your baby gets used to the lumps and bumps and the different textures of foods. So as they get to that age, you really want to be increasing the texture that's within the foods. That means they get used to the family-friendly meals. And it's also really good for their speech as well. It's good for their speech development to get the texture in. So I'm just going to add this into the oil. Okay, so I'm just going to put my cooker on and we'll soften the onion in the oil. Okay, so we're just going to take our red pepper and we're just going to half this. We'll need half a red pepper. So you could use the rest for a finger food. You could slice it up. We'll just put that half to one side. And then we're just going to take this stuff out, the pulp and the seeds out. You can use a spoon. Okay, and then I'm just going to finally chop the pepper as well. We'll start off just by slicing it. Okay, so that would be an ideal finger food. So you could use that as a finger food. Or you can chop it up and put it in the sauce. Okay, so there we have our chopped peppers. So I'm just going to add that into the pot. Okay, so just stir that in with the diced onions. Okay, so next we're going to be adding in half a courgette. So again, just make sure that you give your vegetables a good scrub before you use them. I've already washed the pepper, we've washed the courgette. Just make sure everything's nice and clean. So I'm just going to half the courgette. And then we'll half this again. So I'm just going to slice it finally. Okay, so with the rest you could cut that into fingers and that could be a finger food for your baby. So with this we're going to put it into the pot with the pepper and with the onion. So we're just going to cook this on a low heat for 5 minutes. So just make sure that you stir the pot occasionally to stop it sticking to the sides. Okay, so I'm just going to take a ladle out of the pot and put it onto a baby plate. Okay, so as you can see, we've got a lovely texture here. So this is perfect for a baby around 10 months. You've got your chopped or finely sliced up vegetables here. You've got your texture. You've got some lovely colours. If your baby was maybe younger or they just weren't ready for this type of texture yet, you could just mash that down with a fork. Okay, so here we have our simple tomato and vegetable sauce all plated up, and we are going to serve it with some pasta. So today I'm using some whole wheat spaghetti. So we're going to serve that up. I'm just going to boil it in some water. You don't want to be using whole wheat all the time. You can use whole wheat now and again. You can use plain spaghetti. You can use macaroni, which I've got here. You can use penny pasta. So really whatever you've got in your store cupboard is ideal to use. Okay, so I'm just going to place the pasta into boiling water. We're just going to cook it. If you just follow the pack's instructions, it's around about 10-12 minutes for this one. Okay, so that's just came off the boil, so we're just going to see whether that is ready or not. I'm just going to use a fork just to see if it breaks up easily. As you can see, it's breaking up really easily, so that means it's cooked right through. So we will just drain this now and get it ready to serve with our sauce. Okay, so I've drained my pasta. I'm just going to add this to a plate. Okay, so texture wise, this might be a wee bit long for your baby, so I'm just going to use a table knife and just cut that up. So depending on what stage you feel your baby's at, you can cut it up as much as you want. Okay, so I feel that's the ideal texture for our baby who's going to be eating this today, who's around 10 months old. So I'm just going to add in the sauce. Okay, and I'm going to use a tablespoonful of grated cheese. We're just going to add that on top. Look at that, beautiful. Okay, so we've used cheddar cheese, but you can use any type of hard cheese just as long as it is pasteurised. Okay, so if you want, you can mix this together. And that will be ready to serve your baby. Okay, so that looks a fantastic dish for our baby. Our baby is around about 10 months old, so this is a great texture for them. We have some chopped and sliced vegetables in there. We have still some texture within the pasta. Okay, so here we have some suggestions of some finger foods that you could have with your pasta and tomato and vegetable sauce. So we have some broccoli here, which we've bought frozen. You just cook it in some hot water until it's nice and soft. That's an ideal finger food. And we also have some cooked beetroot here, which is a great finger food, but you just need to make sure that it's not in any vinegar. So you get two different types of cooked beetroot, just make sure it's the one without the vinegar. Okay, we've also got some cheese, so you can either have it as something they can hold, a finger food they can hold in their hand, or you could grate it and they could just pick that up. And then we have our peas here, which you could add into the dish, and you just want to mash them with a fork just to break that round shape. So you can just slightly mash them up a little. Okay, so the recipe in the book is for 8 portions. This is one of our portions from the booklet. And this would probably be a portion size for a baby around 10 months onwards. And you might want to serve it with, as we said, some finger foods. Okay, but obviously you won't be given all these finger foods, so you might just want to have a little bit of broccoli, nice and well cooked. So we'll put that on the plate here. A little bit of beetroot with no vinegar. Okay, so put that there. Weaning can be a messy business, so a lot of this might end up on your floor, especially things like with beetroot as well. If you're giving that into your baby's hands, you might just want to make sure that you've got maybe older clothes on, not their best of gear on, and a bib, and just maybe have some paper tissues or a towel ready just to sort of clean up around about. Okay, so they don't have to have this with a meal, they can have it with a meal, or you could just spread it throughout the day and your baby could just try all these different textures, colours, different flavours of food, and just get some used to the different foods that's out there. Okay, so we have some leftover tomato vegetable sauce here. The recipe was for 8 portions. We have around 7 portions left. So I'm just going to show you how you can add some different ingredients in just to jazz it up a little. So I've got some Quorn mince here, which is a fantastic vegetarian alternative. It's got lots of protein in it. Okay, so there's about 200 grams here of Quorn mince, and I'm just going to add that in with the tomato sauce. Okay, so I'm just going to give this a good stir. And I'm going to cook it as per the pack's instructions, which is just to cook it out in the sauce for around 10 minutes. Now it might go a little dry, so if it does, you can just add a little bit of water in. Okay, so I'm just going to add in a little bit of water. Now I'm adding in water, but you could equally use some full-fat cow's milk. That would give it some extra nutrients, or some dairy-free milk as well. I'm just going to give that a little bit of a stir. Okay, so I'm just going to put a serving out of this pot onto a little plate. Okay, so if you remember, we started off with 7 servings, and because we've added in the Quorn mince, we now have 10 servings. Okay, so we have quite a lot of meals here, which is great. So you can put that in the freezer, so you can just get yourself a little tub and you can freeze it into portions and you can put it in the freezer. And that just means on busier days when you don't have time to cook, you've got something already made in the freezer and you can just take that out and reheat it. Okay, so you need quite a few ingredients to make this recipe, and you can get your frozen bag of Quorn, but actually with the portion, it only costs 20 pence per portion, so that's an amazing amount compared to your baby jars that you can get in the supermarket. So for 20 pence you can make something like this. Okay, so as you can see, a very, very simple dish to make. Not that many ingredients went into this. We had our tinned tomatoes and our pasta, which is your store cupboard ingredients. If you didn't have any fresh vegetables to put in, you could use frozen or tinned. Look at all the colours that's in it. We've got lots of colours, we've got lots of texture in it. Now if I compare that to a shop bought baby jar, which I've got one here, as you can see the difference in texture and the difference in colours. So this one, very little texture. Actually, it's so soft that you can just put your spoon right through that, compared to here where your baby's going to learn about the different textures and you've got your nice sliced vegetables so they can see what the foods actually are supposed to look like. Okay, so if you think about your cost comparison as well, this one's so much cheaper to make. This one is about 4.5 times more expensive than the fresh one, and this one looks so much nicer. Okay, so here is our finished meal. As you can see, looking all ready to serve our baby. Find the recipe in the booklet along with lots of other recipes, so why don't you give it a try?